Steps out against Gasol. Another three. He made it again. Marc Gasol.
The NBA offseason is finally in full swing, and there have already been some major acquisitions by all sides of the NBA. From small teams getting big-time players to playoff contenders shoring up their ranks so they can try and contend in the upcoming season. And then, well, there's the Los Angeles Lakers. There were a lot of eyes on the newly crowned NBA champs to see what they would do with their time and money in regards to getting new signings. And they arguably got one of the best options ever by bringing in Marc Gasol. So allow us to show you why Marc Gasol will work great with LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Number 8, he's a team player. Easily one of the biggest problems you can have on any NBA team, or really any professional team sport, is having a person that won't be a team player and work with others to make the team better. It sounds cliche, but it happens more than you might think. The NBA has seen plenty of people who are shooters first and teammates second in terms of mindset and play style. But for Marc Gasol, he's not like that at all. His name has always been near the top when it comes to his play, but one of the reasons you don't hear about him as often is that he doesn't crave the spotlight, even when he's having record seasons in terms of stats on the teams that he's on.
My brain doesn't function that way. You out there, you're playing basketball like you did your whole life, and this kind of, where it's the most fun.
He works hard and he goes and helps his team get better all the time. He proved that with the Grizzlies, he proved that with the Raptors, and now he's going to prove it with the Lakers. Speaking of his time with the Raptors. Number 7, playoff experience. Another thing that gets underestimated when it comes to team sports is the difference between a regular season play and playoff play. You can be great in the regular season all you want, but when you enter the playoffs, you need to have another gear, another level of play that elevates everyone and helps you win games and truly fight for a chance at the NBA title.
OG with a look. Got it. OG Anunoby at the buzzer.
Marc Gasol most definitely has that, not only because he led the Grizzlies to multiple playoff appearances.
Gasol on the deck, flips it up. A little shimmy at the end.
But also, he won a title with the Toronto Raptors.
I just like how we, as a team, approach every challenge that we faced along the way. How we came together and how we held on to one another. We never pointed fingers, we never blamed.
In fact, he was the major NBA trade deadline get for the Raptors when they had their title run with Kawhi Leonard. He brought not just scoring and passing, but a defensive presence that helped them big time. He has proven in the playoffs and the NBA Finals, which is something you want when it comes to both a front line and a bench.
A terrific player, and it's not only his defense, but his skill set fits today's NBA perfectly. The way he can shoot, and particularly the way he can pass.
So with LeBron aiming to get that 5th ring, he knows that Gasol will help him get at least a solid playoff run next year for sure. Number 6, he's worked with stars before. Another thing that cannot be discounted is the fact that certain NBA players don't mesh well with others because of egos and a desire to be the top dog.
Goes to the Cavs, J.R. Smith brings it back out, throws it a Hill. Hill shot blocked.
That was honestly a question that happened with the Lakers last season when they got Anthony Davis. Many wondered if they would be able to work together well enough to win. Well, they did, obviously.
Playing with AD, someone that's been in my division in the past when I played for Memphis, has a very unique skill set on both ends of the floor, and the rest of the guys too. I'm just look forward to play with everyone on the team.
For Gasol, he was honestly the biggest star on his team when he played with the Memphis Grizzlies all those years. But when he went to the Raptors, he had the chance to play with one of the biggest stars in the league, with Kawhi Leonard. The two never had a problem and gelled well on the court, which again led them to an NBA title. With him now being with Davis and LeBron, he'll have even more star power alongside him than ever before, as well as being in the mecca of Showtime via Los Angeles. But that shouldn't faze Gasol one bit. Number 5, deep front court. One of the biggest threats to any NBA team's success next season is potentially relying on a thin roster. The Lakers will need to give their stars plenty of rest to make sure they're fresh for what they hope will be another long playoff run. The truncated nature of the next season's schedule will make that particularly challenging. After all, it is all but guaranteed that it won't be 80 games, and that means the playoff seeding will likely come down to 1 or 2 games, and that can change everything. So having a deep front court to hold off foes while the Lakers again try and secure the #1 seed is pivotal.
To LeBron all the way! Freight train coming, LeBron James.
Gasol gives the Lakers great depth at center. Harrell will presumably be the starter, but he's not well suited to play 30-minute plus per night. Gasol can comfortably give this team 20 minutes off the bench for long stretches of the season. Splitting that workload at the center position during the regular season should pay big dividends for the Lakers when the postseason rolls around. Depth almost cost the Lakers at times in the playoffs, but they seem to be working that out, and it'll pay off if they continue to stack their deck with players like Gasol. Number 4, passing ability. Good teams can never have enough good passers on the floor during crunch time. James gives the Lakers one of the game's all-time best in that category.
Ball is really, no-look beauty. Great pass by LeBron James.
Gasol can give Los Angeles a front court player capable of making great passes from either the low or high post. That ability can help boost both the Lakers starting 5 and their bench units. Whenever Frank Vogel feels like his offense is getting bogged down, he can turn to Gasol to unlock his half-court attack. The Spanish big man isn't going to notch a ton of double-digit assist games, but his ability to move the ball will help keep his offense on track.
NBA as Marc Gasol, a touch pass underneath, what a look.
Plus, having multiple big-time passers on the court is a godsend because it frees up pressure and ensures that no one can get double-teamed without paying a price for it. Passing matters in basketball, and Marc Gasol is really good at what he does. Number 3, defensive presence. Defensive versatility will be key if this team is going to capture another NBA title. Harrell is a very mobile center, but he's not big or strong enough to hold up against elite post players on the defensive end of the floor. In particular, that makes him a poor matchup against someone like Nikola Jokic in a crucial Western Conference playoff series.
Williams, Harrell, the collision, the block shot!
Which, if you do recall, the two battled in the Western Conference Finals, and Jokic was a real threat, and many games were close, despite the Lakers winning 4-1. Gasol, in sharp contrast, is still one of the league's best defenders on the low block. He might struggle to make plays in space at this stage of his career, but he won't be bullied in the post. Plus, with the next NBA playoffs not likely to be shuttered or postponed, that means that players will be more fine-tuned for defense than they were in the bubble playoffs. So having a staunch defender at his potential peak in those playoffs is something the Lakers will absolutely need.
Gasol down the lane, accepts contact.
Number 2, opening up the offense. We talked about the passing aspect of Gasol in his game, but there's more to it than just that. Having him with James and Davis opens up the offense in a big way. Gasol opens up the floor for LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Last season, he would have been the team's best three-point shooter, shooting 38.5% on 3.4 attempts. He assisted on almost 20% of the team's field goals made, which is remarkable for a center. And as it stands now, LeBron and AD must expend a tremendous amount of energy just to keep the Lakers' offense above water, which isn't good when you're going to have a rush season in an arguably more intense playoff upcoming than you did last year. Nobody else, with the exception of Rajon Rondo in the playoffs, was able to create offense on the team. With Gasol in the lineup, they would be able to finish plays as well as create them.
I'm happy as hell to have Big Marc Gasol, another champion.
Yeah.
One with the Raptors 2 years ago, who I've always loved.
Number 1, he is not an afterthought. You might have noticed that we said that Gasol is likely to be a bench player or the 6th man to the Lakers throughout the season, and that might lead you to think that they just got him solely to shore up their ranks and nothing more, but that would be a misnomer. You see, the Lakers know all too well that if they don't have the right quality of players, they won't be able to make it back to the NBA Finals, especially with another unpredictable season coming up. So thus, getting Marc Gasol wasn't just a big hire, it's a vital one, and they no doubt acknowledge that. LeBron and AD will be treating him as a key piece of their puzzle to help stave off an increasingly powerful Western Conference. Will it be enough to go and win the title? Only time will tell. So what do you think? What do you think of this look at the Los Angeles Lakers and why Marc Gasol might well and truly be a major piece for them in the upcoming NBA season? Do you think that with this addition, the Lakers are even better than they were when they won the NBA title? Do you think they need to get more pieces to ensure a repeat? If so, then who do they get? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time on the channel.